Hi everyone, it's lovely to see you. We're reading The Water Horse by Dick Kingsmith, and this is chapter 6. Kirsty was so excited at the thought of Father coming home on leave that she could not manage to eat much. Angus was excited too, but that didn't stop him finishing his own breakfast and Kirsty's leftovers. Because they knew what time the bus arrived at the stop at the bottom of the glen, they were ready and waiting on the road outside the small white house when the distant blue-clad figure appeared, ditty bag on shoulder, parcels under one arm, waving happily with the other. "Home is the sailor, home from the sea," said Grumble contentedly to himself as he watched Mother and the children running to greet him. At first it was all excitement in the house as the parcels were opened, presents from a far distant lands. For Mother there was a length of beautiful silk, for Grumble a packet of strange foreign seeds to plant in the garden, for Kirsty a necklace made of shark's teeth, and for Angus a four-masted ship with a full spread of canvas sailing eternally within its bottle. "How you've grown," said Father to the children. "Why, last leave I was carrying you about easily, Angus. I shouldn't want to do that now." "He likes his food," said Mother. All this reminded Kirsty of the water horse and how he had grown too heavy to carry. "Grumble," she cried, "we haven't fed Crusoe yet." "Who's Crusoe?" said Father. "He's our monster," shouted Angus. "We found him on the beach and he hatched out in the bath and he lives in the goldfish pond and we catch fish for him every day and he gobbles them up. Chomp, 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 and you should see his teeth, Father, miles bigger than the ones on Kirsty's necklace they are." And Angus made fearful chewing faces. "Whatever's the boy talking about?" said Father, and the others explained everything to him. "You couldn't have come home at a better time," said Grumble. "We must get him to the loching, the quicker the better, and he's too heavy for me to manage. Getting him out of the goldfish pond won't be easy to begin with, so my idea is not to feed him at all today, and then he'll be so hungry that he might manage to climb out himself if we tempt him with something tasty." "Come and see him, Father," said Kirsty, and they all went out to the pond where Crusoe was calling hungrily. They took off the wire frame and Kirsty said, "Crusoe," and the water horse came and laid his head on the rim of the pond. "Holy mackerel," said Father, "I've sailed the 7 seas and never seen such a creature. Is it some kind of sea serpent?" "A water horse," said Grumble. "I've heard you speak of such a thing. Was there not one in Lochmora? I mind you told me once." Grumble nodded. "Gentle him," he said. "He's an amiable beastie." And Father bent down and scratched and pulled at Crusoe's stumps of ears. "When shall we try to shift him then?" he said. "In the morning, I thought," said Grumble. "Between us we can maybe get him down into my old wheelbarrow and wheel him along the road to the loch-in. It's a Sunday, so Posty will not be coming, and there's no bus and not likely to be anyone else about." Crusoe had been swimming rapidly up and down the length of the goldfish pond, as he always did as midday approached, raising his horse head at intervals to gaze in the direction of the top of the cliff path. It was at this time that he had received his first meal of the day. Now, when he saw the giants approaching, he began to call out impatiently. He could no longer be said to chirrup, for his voice had broken, so that he made a kind of low, rough bellow, like a cow with a sore throat calling for its calf. It was a hoarse noise, you might say. But when the giants arrived and removed the wire frame, he could see that they had brought no food. More, there were now not 4 of them, but 5. One of the smaller ones called his name, and at the sound he came as he was now accustomed, and he laid his head upon the rim of the pond. The new giant, another very large one, with a good deal of hair on his chin, bent down and scratched and pulled pleasantly at his stumps of ears, and they all made their usual medley of sounds, some deep, some shrill. Then they went away, and as they disappeared, a steady cold rain began to fall. By evening the rain had stopped, but by then Crusoe was very hungry. He had had nothing at all to eat for 24 hours now, and his mind was filled with tantalising pictures of food, tender spotted dabs and fat little brown rockfish, and crunchy green crabs and juicy pink starfish. As for mussels, he could have eaten a barrel of them. For the first time in his life, he felt the need to go looking for food instead of waiting for it to be brought to him, and for the first time he actually tried to get out of the goldfish pond. After a great deal of clumsy effort, he managed to lift the wire frame with his head and get both front flippers up on the rain-soaked concrete rim, but it was too steep and already frozen, and he slipped back with a moan of disappointment. That night the frost was much more severe, but the surface of the pond had no chance to freeze over, so urgently did Crusoe cruise around in his hunger pangs. Dawn came, and the sun rose and climbed the sky and shone down without warmth, and the ravenous water-horse bellowed his hunger to the frozen world. And then, at long last, 4 of the giants appeared again, and as they came nearer he could smell the food that they were carrying. Father and the others could see that though there had been a hard frost, Crusoe had kept the pond ice-free, paddling hungrily about. But everything else was ice-covered, for the previous afternoon's rain had frozen solid upon every surface. Even the branches and twigs of the trees were coated in ice. Crusoe came eagerly to the side without waiting to be called. He could smell the fish that Kirsty was carrying on a plate. Rather to everyone's surprise, and to Angus's dismay, Mother had donated a small tin of pilchards and tomato sauce as bait to lure the waterhorse out of the pond. In point of fact, she was delighted to think that he was going somewhere where he could catch his own food from now on, freeing her from the endless washing of clothes covered in slimy fish scales. "Hold one of the pilchards in front of his nose," Kirsty said, Grumble. "Not too near, mind. Don't let him get it yet." Frantically, Crusoe tried to haul himself out, but the icy rim was too slippery. "Right," said Father, "we'll have to help him." The moving of heavy weights in and out of shipholds was something he well understood, and now he took charge. "Angus," he said, "take station abaft me. I reckon this fellow weighs nearer 200 pounds than 100, and we don't want anyone getting hurt. Kirsty, keep the fish right in front of his face, but be ready to go full astern as he comes out." And to Grumble he said, "Next time he comes up in the rim, I'll take a hold of one front flipper and you take the other and wait for my word. Ready? Now, Kirsty." And as Crusoe reared up once again, Father and Grumble grabbed a flipper apiece. "Heave!" shouted Father, and heave, while Angus danced about yelling, "Come on, my hearties!" And at last, with much grunting and sloshing, the waterhorse came out of the goldfish pond and lay dripping on the frozen grass. "Belay," said Father to Grumble, and to Kirsty, "Give him the fish." "Phew," said Grumble, "he is a weight. I doubt we'll get him into the wheelbarrow." "If we did," said Father, "and it didn't break under him, I doubt we could push him. Let's see first if he'll sail under his own steam." And so began a slow procession, from the pond, across the lawn, towards the road. Crusoe's grace and speed on or under water was only equalled by his clumsiness and sluggishness on land, but driven on by his hunger, he followed Kirsty and her pilchards, slowly, oh so slowly, inching along at tortoise speed. "What a rate of knots," said Father, looking at his watch. "Half an hour to travel 50 yards. We'll be all day and night getting him to the loch," and growled Grumble. But then something happened that changed the whole picture. Kirsty, walking backward still, reached the road at last and stepped off the verge onto the tarmac surface. Immediately her legs shot from under her, and as she fell, the last few pilchards flew off the plate and landed right in front of the grateful waterhorse. "Are you all right, Kirsty?" everyone shouted. "Yes," she said, struggling to her feet, "but he's eaten all the fish now. What can we tempt him with?" "We shan't need to," said Father, grinning. "Why not?" "Look," said Father, and he found a smooth pebble and skimmed it, ducks and drakes fashion, down the slight slope of the road. On and on it slid, for the rain had frozen on the surface of the road in a thick slippery skin like a skating rink. "We can slide him," said Grumble, "like a curling stone." And that's exactly what happened. The road was so glassy that Father made Grumble and the children walk on the verge, for young bones and old bones are easily broken in a fall, he knew, and he took upon himself the job of pushing Crusoe. Now their progress was 10 times as quick. Slipping, sliding, slithering and skidding, the waterhorse glided down the road with no effort on his own part and very little on Father's, and in another half hour or less they had reached the Lochan, a quarter of a mile away. Then it was easy. The edge of the Lochan was close to the road and a little below it. With one last concerted shove, they launched Crusoe into his new home. It was easy to see his delight at being back in his element again and at finding so much space to swim in. Away he went, head and neck showing above the surface like a periscope, a V-shaped wake streaming out behind him until he reached the middle of the Lochan. There he turned and for a moment looked back at them standing on the shore. Then he slid silently beneath the surface and was lost to their sight. Join me for Chapter 7.